Ever heard of a village so haunted, even the moonlight fears to shine? This is the story of such a place, a village shrouded in darkness and mystery, where the very air seems to whisper secrets of the past. The village, nestled deep within an ancient forest, is a place where time stands still and the shadows hold more than just the absence of light. Let me tell you about Lila, a brave soul who dared to defy the darkness. Lila was not just any traveller, she was a seeker of truths, a wanderer who believed that every legend had a kernel of reality. Her journey brought her to this forsaken village, where she hoped to uncover the truth behind the tales of the Faceless ones. In a small village deep in the woods, the nights were so dark that even the moonlight feared to shine. The dense canopy of trees overhead seemed to swallow any light that dared to penetrate, casting the village in perpetual twilight. The villagers lived in a state of constant dread, their lives governed by the setting sun and the rising moon. The villagers had a peculiar tradition. Every evening they would lock their doors and draw the curtains, fearing the faceless ones who roamed the night. This ritual was not just a habit but a necessity, a means of survival. The faceless ones were said to be spirits of those who had lost their identities, cursed to wander the earth without features, seeking to claim others to join their ranks. But Lila, a curious traveller, scoffed at their superstitions. She was a woman of reason and logic, and the idea of faceless beings haunting the night seemed absurd to her. She believed that fear was a product of ignorance, and she was determined to shed light on the truth. She decided to take a walk after sunset, just to prove them wrong. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the village, Lila set out on her solitary journey. The air was thick with anticipation, and the silence was almost deafening. As the last rays of sun vanished, an eerie silence blanketed the village. The transition from day to night was swift and absolute, as if the village itself was holding its breath. The once bustling streets were now deserted, and the only sound was the distant hoot of an owl. Lila's footsteps echoed unnaturally loud. Each step seemed to reverberate through the empty streets, amplifying the sense of isolation. The sound was almost hypnotic, drawing her deeper into the heart of the village. The windows were tightly shuttered, lamps flickering as if unsure whether to stay lit. The flickering light cast eerie shadows that danced on the walls, creating an illusion of movement where there was none. It was as if the village itself was alive, watching her every move. Suddenly she felt it, an overwhelming sensation that she was not alone. The hairs on the back of her neck stood on end and a chill ran down her spine. It was a feeling she couldn't shake, a sense of being watched by unseen eyes. Turning around, Lila froze. Her heart pounded in her chest as she scanned the darkness, searching for the source of her unease. The shadows seemed to shift and coalesce, forming shapes that defied explanation. Figures emerged from the shadows, gliding rather than walking. They moved with an unnatural grace, their forms barely distinguishable from the darkness that surrounded them. It was as if they were part of the night itself, born from the very essence of fear. They had no faces, just smooth, featureless skin, where eyes, noses and mouths should be. The sight was both mesmerizing and horrifying, a grotesque parody of humanity. Without features, they were devoid of expression, yet their presence conveyed a malevolent intent. Yet somehow, they were watching her. She could feel their gaze, an invisible force that seemed to pierce through her very soul. It was a sensation unlike any other, a feeling of being utterly exposed and vulnerable. Panicking, Lila ran. But the faceless ones were always just behind her. No matter how fast she moved, they seemed to glide effortlessly, closing the distance with each passing moment. Her breath came in ragged gasps, and her heart raced as she fought to escape their relentless pursuit. She reached her inn, slamming the door behind her. The sound echoed through the empty halls, a stark contrast to the silence outside. She leaned against the door, her chest heaving as she tried to catch her breath. Gasping for breath, she peered through the curtain. Her eyes scanned the darkness, searching for any sign of the faceless ones. The night seemed to stretch on endlessly, each second feeling like an eternity. They stood just outside, waiting, Their featureless faces turned towards her as if they could see through the walls. The sight sent a shiver down her spine, and she backed away from the window, her mind racing with fear and confusion. The next morning, the villagers found Lila's inn door open. The sunlight streamed in, casting long shadows on the floor. The village was abuzz with whispers and speculation, the air thick with a sense of foreboding. Inside, a single chilling clue, a mirror on the bed reflecting the smooth, faceless skin of her reflection. The sight was both surreal and terrifying, a stark reminder of the night's events. She had become one of them. The transformation was complete, and Lila was now a part of the very legend she had sought to debunk. Her fate was sealed, and the village would never be the same again.